Hey, what's up, card fighters? Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. Depending when I post this, this is most likely going to be posted either on Christmas or after Christmas. But I did want to post what I took to locals, the DRAJEWELED list. Definitely, there are going to be some changes once we just start moving to a more consistent like 50 card main deck locals. We are going to be trying that out for the first time, so definitely stay tuned on the channel, and we're going to get some games recorded for you of basically like the new format, the new way to play the game, since essentially the format that we're playing is like Worlds format, and we didn't make it to Worlds. But yeah, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, guys. Definitely really close to reaching that 1K mark. Just like need a little bit of a push, and we're definitely going to be doing that huge playmat. This playmat, we're going to be giving away this playmat to like a ton of subscribers beginning of next year, most likely. But yeah, getting into the deck list here. This is my DRAJEWELED IGNIS deck list, the DRAJEWELED ride line. There's really no reason not to run this ride line now. It's just able to give you like a free body on turn 2 and then get you a draw when you ride, and then you're able to draw another card off of DRAJEWELED if necessary. So yeah. For IGNIS, he's just the main star of the deck. You do really need him at 4, especially since he's basically like a combo piece in Soul off of his own ability. So yeah, run 4. As long as you see 1, you should be fine, but like having multiples definitely doesn't hurt. And then 4 copies of Nocturuzio. This is just basically like your draw engine slash soul enabler. This just works really well with Ignis's abilities. So just when you discard this for grade 3 ride, when you call it, you get to soul 2 from the drop zone. Not really much to say here. This is part of what I would consider DRAJEWELED's engine cards. Definitely when we move to like a 50 card deck, you're going to be a little bit more flexible in like non-engine, but most of this entire deck is engine. Like these are like the 2 non-engine cards that I am running in my DRAJEWELED IGNIS list, which is the 1 Forbital, and is this going to be off camera? Nope. The 1 Forbital and the 1 Crucial Dragon. Now a lot of people are running the other grade 3 from set 6 or set 7. That like when it attacks, if you soul blasted 4 or more, retire opponent's rearguard, soul a card from hand, draw a card. I just like Crucial Dragon more just because it helps me clean up my board, and if my opponent does hit a defensive, it's still able to hit 23 by itself over that defensive trigger, which mostly is going to be like they're at 10 or like 10 and 1, so it still makes good numbers by itself, and it's also spot removal. Spot removal on top of DRAJEWELED's IGNIS effect to just wipe the back row. So it's just like really helpful card, and like whenever I do call this or superior call this, it like always gets sniped because like it's a not like a big threat, but it's like a mediumly annoying card that my opponent just normally doesn't want it on board, and I'm just completely okay with them killing it. 4 copies of Rock'n'Roll Dragon. This is just your multi-attack enabler, your 1 card multi-attack enabler. No reason really not to run 4. Really going to be happy with like the reprints that are going to be coming out for this deck. Just make this deck a whole. DRAJEWELED as a whole has always been very expensive to build, so it's just going to make the deck like very way cheaper and accessible, even though I do know Nocturuzio is still a very expensive card. Forbital Surrogate, you don't have to run this card. It's a nice to have that can bridge you into your engine, but it's not necessarily a need to have. 4 copies of Zoggin. You could do this on turn 2, which is insane. That and it's also a booster if you have a DRAJEWELED Vanguard. Just being able to like toolbox any rear guards you need from Soul, and its Soul Charges on top of that is just very like a very good engine card that just helps you facilitate your multi-attack plays. And then your second multi-attack enabler is Rapula. Running 4 copies of Rapula. The reason I'm running 4 copies of Rapula is that even if you do have multiples of Rapula on board, you could still activate the first part of its skill to put it into Soul and draw a card. You won't get to reset another rearguard because its stipulation is the same stipulation as Implusa, but you'll still get that Soul, and you'll still get to be able to draw, and you can always fish them out of Soul with Zoggin's effect. And then our last engine card, which is, there's a lot of engine cards that came out for this deck, but it's one of like the easier decks to build out of set 13. I don't think any of the set 13 decks are necessarily hard to build. maybe the Leonhorn deck. But you really just want to max out on copies of like your consistency cards and your multi-attack enablers, which I'm playing 4 copies of Horde/Draco Kid. This just searches you Ignis off the top 7. And if you whiffed, you already have an Ignis in hand. It's just like a free draw. CB in this deck, it's very manageable. Like you could do your Ignis turn without CB. CB isn't necessary. CB is just like an added benefit and resource to this deck. And then 4 DPGs, because this is a grade 4 deck, so we can't really consistently run the Blitz Order PG. And then we're going on to the triggers. Is this going to be off camera? No. 4 regular heals. You can move to certain effect heals because of there are a lot of restanders in this current format, but unfortunately if you're using the restand effect heal, it doesn't work against youth, and it doesn't work against quite a few other decks that I feel like are still relevant in this current metagame. But I just found that like vanilla heal, I've never gone wrong with vanilla heals. Maybe in DZ we'll get better heals, or we'll have better reasons to run the effect heals. But I've just always been an advocate of vanilla heals. 4 vanilla crits, 4 into soul crits. You actually don't need the into soul crits in this deck, but it's one of those things where it's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. Ooh, that glare is nasty. Let me actually put this. Let me put this right here. That glare's nasty, brother. Is that better? Yeah, that's a little bit better. Yeah. 4 into soul crits. 3 effect draws. The reason that I'm running draws is because you are a slightly slower deck. There are certain hands you could open up that you could still do 3 to 4 attacks, or like 4 to, not 3 to 4, 4 to 5 attacks, depending if you went first or second on your first grade 3 turn. But a lot of times I found myself, because this is like a grade 4 centric deck, I'd rather just hold those pieces, or I'd rather just garner advantage on that grade 3 turn, push a little bit of damage, and then go for like my real push/kill turn on turn 4. Usually your first turn 4 is like your push turn, where you push your opponent to like 5 or 4, and they just like dump a lot of cards from hand because they don't want to go to 5. And then your second grade 4 turn is usually when you do generally go for the kill. And then one of the blue OT, I really just like the blue OT, especially in this format. Just having that extra critical trigger that's like 100 million buff on top of it is really good. Something I do want to note is that in this format, the transfer Blitz Order Chalice piece is actually way more playable in this format than past formats. Is just because generally transfer doesn't work against Brantgate decks, but it generally works against every other decks. And since Brantgate is not really like a giant piece of the meta right now, it feels like giant pieces of the meta are Youth, DRAJEWELED, and Leonhorn. So the transfer Blitz Order can actually come up against those matchups, like when they do hit that maybe not Leonhorn, just because of the Zoo Nation OT. It depends where they put the crit. It really depends. But a friend of mine is, shout out to John Well, he is playing the transfer, and it actually like worked. Like again, when I was playing Youth, it was actually like a really like good card against me playing against me checking my over trigger. But yeah, just something to keep inside your minds, guys. Again, like this, and I believe my Youth deck profile are probably going to be like the last ones that I do that are purely this format. And then every deck profile after that, I'll be doing 50 card format, but I'll tell you like what the 4 extra cards are if you wanted to just keep your deck the pure 46 cards for the current format that we're in. But I feel like there's little reason to keep playing 46 card format, just because of the, the competitive season's already over. The only format that's relevant in right now is Worlds. That's Worlds format right now. So like if you're going to Worlds, definitely practice that format. But if you're not, then just have some fun like the rest of us and play 50 card format. But anyways, guys, again, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. We are so close to our goal. At this rate, I do believe we'll be able to get it at the beginning of next year. But I know like eventually, guys, we are going to get it sooner than later. I hope y'all have a good night, and I hope y'all have a good holiday break.